Hi everyone, I'm Ian. I've finally done it. I created the sequel to Water. Now, I just need to come up with a name for it. I was thinking maybe Water 2, but I'm not sure enough people would get into it with a name like that. Perfect.
When it comes to titling a new release for a game franchise, there's always two ways to go about it. You could do it the lame and old way where you just increase the number at the end of the game title. Or you could do it the new and cool way where you name it the exact same thing you did 10 years ago.
Or you could just not use numbers. According to this chart that I made from asking people on the street, the average person's response to "Are you literate?" is "Get the hell away from me."
So let's take a look at some of the ways that games have been numbered poorly, starting with Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy was created in Japan in 1987, and it was subsequently brought to the US as Final Fantasy. For Final Fantasy 2 through 6, though, it's not that easy. So Japanese Final Fantasy 1 is the exact same as US Final Fantasy 1. Japanese Final Fantasy 2? Yeah, we never got that. And it's the same story with Final Fantasy 3. Now for Final Fantasy 4, well, that did get released in the US, but it wasn't called Final Fantasy 4, due to us never getting Final Fantasy 2 or 3. So in the US, instead of calling it Final Fantasy 4, they instead called it Final Fantasy 2. With Final Fantasy 5, that also never got released here. And with 6, you can guess what happened with that.
Did they rename it to something like Grungle?
No, they called it Final Fantasy 3. So when Final Fantasy 7 released in Japan, there was one of two ways that it could go. Either it wouldn't get released in the US, or it would release here and it would be called Final Fantasy 4. And what did they do?
A curveball!
They just called it Final Fantasy 7. So if you were a fan of the games, then you would think that they'd skipped 4, 5, and 6. But if you knew that the games were titled different in the US than in Japan, then you would know that we just never got 2, 3, and 5. Also, there's 126 total Final Fantasy games if you include spin-offs and remakes, but thankfully only the main series uses numbers.
What the hell?
Moving on to something else, how about Doom? So the original Doom is just called Doom. For the sequel, it's called Doom 2. Though it does have a subtitle, but I'm okay with this. What I'm not okay with is the fact that the next one was called Final Doom. And then to top it off, Final Doom is not the final Doom game, because then there's Doom 64.
So they're just throwing out the numbering scheme altogether. How could they?
After not numbering the last two Doom games, they then go to Doom 3. And you know what's worse? The next Doom is just called Doom. So if you want to talk about it or search for it, you have to call it Doom 2016. They couldn't just call it Doom 4 or Doom. Trust me guys, this is actually the last one. No, they had to call it Doom again.
Why did they do this to us?
How about something that has to make sense? Like the Xbox. You know, the Xbox, that weird console released by that company that makes that one operating system. You know, that one that got weird with the menu for the console with the green and the slime stuff. You know, Xbox, the company that started with the whole paid online multiplayer thing.
Who?
The very first Xbox was called Xbox. Pretty straightforward. With the next Xbox released, that was called the Xbox 360. What? What's even worse is that the Xbox after the 360 is called the Xbox One. So if you have Xbox One and Xbox One, why don't I just do this? Yeah, that makes sense.
What is it with companies and naming their products either the exact same thing as an old one, or nothing like the previous ones? And there's so many examples of this. So here's a rapid fire list of some.
Street Fighter has 8 games all called Street Fighter 2. Mega Man has Mega Man 1 through 8, Mega Man X 1 through 8, Mega Man ZX, Mega Man 0, and about 4 million Mega Man Battle Network games. Battlefield is just a mess with 1942, Vietnam 2, 2142, Bad Company, and 1943. Mortal Kombat 2 has Roman numerals, and 3 is regular numbers. Then 4 is Mythology's Sub-Zero, and then 5 is 4. Kingdom Hearts has 2, 358/2, Coded, 3D Dream Drop Distance, X, X Back Cover, 0.2 Birth by Sleep, and then 3. Assassin's Creed went from numbered 1 and 2, to subtitles, to 3 with no subtitle, to 4 but with a subtitle, then to just subtitle again. Call of Duty is a disaster, but that makes sense kinda, as Modern Warfare and Black Ops are made by 2 different companies. Still bad though. Madden changed from John Madden Football for 1, 2, 92, and 93, to Madden NFL for 92 through 98, then Madden 64, then 99, then 2000 to 2005, then 06 to 08, En8r had 2 releases, then 10 to 13, then 25, then 15 to 24, then 25 again.
All of this is such a disaster. To help this, I started the Foundation of Allocating Regular Titles, or FART. At FART, we ensure that all games get names that won't confuse gamers, which is actually quite difficult. So they're all just called video game. We have a very small budget.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button. If you want to keep up with what I'm doing, hit subscribe. And if you have any recommendations for videos to make, leave it in the comments.